Imagine feeling like you're floating on clouds, seeing colors, or seeing people's faces melt off. I'm going to start off by showing you a short YouTube video produced by your mate Tom in August of 2019, showing some of the things I just explained. What exactly is happening in this video. To put it short, this is basically what you see when on a trip to another world. Lysergic acid diethylamide, also known as LSD or acid, is an illegal hallucinogenic drug. Psychedelics are a hallucinogenic class of drugs. When someone takes this kind of drug, experiences are triggered through their serotonin receptors, which cause psychological, visual, and auditory changes and an altered state of consciousness. There are many types of psychedelic drugs ranging from chemicals to plants. In today's speech, I'm going to clarify what exactly lysergic acid diethylamide, also known as LSD or acid, is. I will cover how it came to be the drug that it is now, what happens when someone is on LSD, and what the side effects and benefits are. First, we'll talk about how LSD was created. It was first synthesized in Basel, Switzerland by chemist Albert Hofmann in 1938. According to the Curious Minds documentary called The Accidental Creation of LSD, Hofmann was looking to create a marketable blood stimulant. He synthesized molecules and played around with this experiment. He tested on some animals, but all it did was make them uneasy, so he scrapped it. However, 5 years later, in 1943, Hofmann decided to give it a second try. Somehow the substance got absorbed through his skin, and he started to have unusual sensations. As time went on, he was in a dreamlike state, and according to the documentary, he started to see fantastic pictures and extraordinary shapes with an intense kaleidoscope play of colors. A few days later, Hofmann took a calculated dose. He took 250 micrograms of this substance, which is a lot. This took him to another realm, and he thought he was going insane. He called a doctor, and because no one knew what the effects of this substance was, he thought this state of insanity was permanent and he was going to die. In a few hours, he began to come down from this experience and he eventually recovered. He was fascinated on what happened to him, so he wanted to find out more about it. In apparently useless, The Accidental Discovery of LSD, written by Tom Schroeder, it was said that Hofmann kept testing this drug on animals and himself. It is basically made from a fungus that grows on rye and other grains, and it's soaked in an absorbent paper, which is cut into little squares called tabs. He came to the conclusion that he has discovered something remarkable, and this is how LSD was created. Now that I've talked about how acid was made, my next topic will be about what exactly happens when someone trips on LSD. According to Kimberly Holland's article, How Does It Feel to Take Acid? An acid trip has so many possible experiences, and each one can be different. Once you take the tab, symptoms will start to show 20 to 90 minutes afterwards, and it stays in your body for up to 15 hours, and trips can last up to 12. During an acid trip, people usually describe it as seeing color, tasting sounds, and stationary items begin to move, shrink, or swell. In Elizabeth Hartney's article, Understanding the Acid Trip Experience, she mentions how time can feel distorted. Some people feel like their experience is a lot longer than it actually is, and some feel like it could last forever. After hours pass, you will start to come down from your trip, and it'll feel like you're returning to Earth. Some feel tired and sleep their drug experience off. My last topic will be on the benefits and side effects of LSD. In Talk to Frank's article called LSD, It is mentioned that there is no long-term physical damage from taking acid, but some people tend to harm themselves during a bad trip. If someone is in a bad mental state, then they should avoid taking this drug because an acid trip can make it worse. However, in Daniel Miller's article, LSD could make you smarter, happier, and healthier, Miller talks about how psychedelics can change one's personality forever. In the early 2000s, scientists began to look into psychedelics as a way to relieve anxiety, addiction, depression, and other mental health issues. These experiments turned out to be successful. It turned out that when someone takes a psychedelic drug, there's a decrease in blood flow and an increase in activity between different parts in the brain that usually does not happen. Today, I clarified what the hallucinogen drug LSD is by explaining how it came to be, the experience on the drug, and the outcome of the drug. LSD puts you in a state of mind that could be difficult to understand. Acid trips are wild experiences, and they can be positive and inspiring or negative and overwhelming. LSD has a long history of recreational use and recently showed the potential of medicinal use. This consciousness-changing drug can do a lot. It remains illegal now, but maybe in the future it will help patients relax and take a trip.